is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It is 5 o'clock here on your Tuesday. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. Here's what's making headlines on this March 17th.
The problem is that this individual would not have died if it was not for the COVID-19 infection.
The coronavirus claims its first Indiana victim. This morning, we're working for you with the new steps being taken to keep Hoosiers across our state safe.
Plus, new restrictions are in place for bars and restaurants across the state. We're working for you this morning with how local businesses are being impacted by those changes.
Just filled with so much joy, so blessed to be back home.
And an IU student describes her chaotic journey home after having to end her study abroad program early. But first, we do need to get a check of your Storm Team 6 forecast.
That's right, and we are counting on Todd Clausen to give us some good weather so we can all get out of the house and just get outside, maybe go for a walk or something. Todd, what can we expect out there today?
Yeah, you know, you can get out at any point throughout the day today. It's probably going to be a little better this afternoon because it'll be, one, a little brighter, and two, obviously a little bit warmer. We had some rain showers yesterday afternoon and evening, and a few of those lingered into the overnight hours, but Storm Team 6 radar is nice and quiet right now, although there is still that very damp feel that is out there. So it's going to seem like it's going to rain if you walk out the door within the next few hours, but all the showers here have shifted off towards the east and are now in Ohio. Clouds trying to break apart this morning. They'll fill back in for mostly cloudy skies to start our day. But as this main area of low pressure, which is to our south, pushes off towards the east, it'll kind of take that moisture with it and the clouds as well, and we'll thin the clouds out for some sunshine probably by mid-afternoon, I would expect. 42 right now in Bloomington. It's 40 in Lafayette, so temperatures fairly seasonable for this time of year. As we work our way throughout the course of this St. Patrick's Day, we'll have the morning clouds giving way for that sunshine this afternoon. So it gets better as the day goes on, as our temperature will eventually top off right around 53 degrees. Enjoy today in the dry conditions. Tomorrow's a little warmer, but it turns very wet. More on that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thanks. As you're heading out the door this Tuesday, we're keeping a close eye on traffic. No major issues to report here on the east side. This is I-70 near Sherman Drive. Traffic's moving along up to speed, both eastbound and westbound. We'll keep our eyes out for any crashes or delays this morning, and of course, we'll keep you updated.
What makes this really hard is that this individual's significant other was also infected, and so the two of them could not be together when this patient passed.
A sad reality as the new coronavirus claims the life of an Indiana resident. And state leaders and health officials say this is just the beginning. It's just one of the big, impactful developments announced Monday as the governor and the mayor of Indianapolis announced new steps to slow the spread of this disease. The patient, a Marion County adult in that high-risk category, over the age of 60 and with other health issues. However, as you heard, the Community Health Network's chief physician executive says this person would not have died if not for COVID-19. At this point, state officials say where patients are getting the virus can't be traced back to Italy or China. They expect to see more of this as the days go on, and that's why they say it is imperative that Hoosiers stay home and only get tested if you fall into those high-risk categories and you're sick enough to be admitted into the hospital.
Individuals that are young, college kids, all of you are saying, well, it's not going to affect me. You're not going to get sick, but you will get somebody else sick. This is paramount right now. We will not have enough healthcare workers to take care of all the patients that are going to get sick. So I caution all of you to be careful.
Even people who are well want to get tested, and I understand that. But the reality is you could have minimal symptoms today and be tested and be negative, and 2 days from now be positive for COVID-19. So that gives you a false sense of security.
Indiana did receive more test kits at the end of last week, and they're expecting more this week. But again, they are prioritizing high-risk individuals, people in long-term care facilities, and our healthcare providers. Taking a look at the numbers this morning, there are at least 24 confirmed cases of COVID-19 here in the state of Indiana, and still just one death being reported. The state health department says the virus has now spread to at least 13 Indiana counties. That number is expected to climb as more tests are done across the state. Nationally, Nationally, the Johns Hopkins University coronavirus tracker shows nearly 4,600 cases of COVID-19 in the United States and nearly 180,000 confirmed globally. More than 7,000 people have now died from the virus. 78,000 people have recovered.
Officials in Fishers are joining Marion County in placing travel restrictions on residents in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The restrictions go into place at 8 this morning. Travel within the city is limited to essential trips only. That includes travel related to medical care, mandatory work activities, and travel to get groceries, medication, and essential household goods. The restrictions do not apply to food delivery or retail stores' resupply vehicles. The order also closes Fishers Parks facilities, including playgrounds. The city has established a coronavirus hotline for residents. That number is on your screen right now. It's 317-595-3211.
Indiana restaurants and bars are closed to in-person patrons through the end of the month. Governor Holcomb announcing that directive yesterday on the heels of neighboring states, Illinois, Ohio, and Kentucky, all taking similar actions. Before the announcement, several establishment owners already decided to shut the doors or switch to takeout or online only service or takeout service only. Our Alyssa Donovan has the details. Alyssa.
Restaurant after restaurant after restaurant posting on social media Monday that they were closing or switching to carry-out services only. Some establishment owners throwing in the towel before Governor Holcomb made it official. Indiana following suit with neighboring Illinois, Ohio, and Kentucky, all of which have halted dine-in services for restaurants and bars due to COVID-19. Indiana will still allow pickup and delivery options. Some places like Northside Kitchenette posting a thank you for continued support as they transition to curbside carryout. The Vanguard in Broad Ripple offering family-style oven-ready options, accepting pre-orders via direct message 2 days in advance. Bluebeard Indy and Bovacanti Coffee closing completely. In their post, they want to ensure safety of their staff and the community. Many social media posts encouraging people to purchase gift cards to use at a later date so that these small businesses can continue to receive some financial support during the closures. Several restaurants also sharing this, a letter to both Governor Holcomb and Mayor Joe Hogsett, requesting support for employees and restaurant owners, including emergency unemployment benefits for workers, an eviction moratorium protecting both the establishments and staff, elimination of payroll tax for employees, and rent and loan abatement measures for those impacted by the closure of the restaurant industry. The letter states that taking these measures would allow these restaurants and bars to reopen their doors when the pandemic is over.
Alyssa, thank you. As Indiana bars and restaurants prepare to transfer to carry-out and delivery only, delivery services are working to help ease the burden. In response to the coronavirus and Indiana's mandated shutdown of in-person food service, companies like Grubhub are now stepping up to help. They're deferring commission fees and creating a Grubhub Community Relief Fund for drivers and restaurants affected. Uber Eats is waiving delivery fees for independent restaurants. Grubhub and Uber Eats have a contact-free delivery options too. Your delivery driver can drop your order off on your stoop or next to your door to avoid contact.
Here at 508, for many entrepreneurs, wedding season is when they make most of their income. Now, with new recommendations from the Centers for Disease Control to keep gatherings under 50 people, that could be a lot less income this year. Our Kelsey Anderson has more.
With Governor Holcomb putting more restrictions in place in hopes of stopping the spread of the coronavirus here in Indiana, the wedding industry is taking a big hit. Experts say if weddings are postponed over the next 8 weeks or more, some businesses may not make it. Tammy Pisaki says if no weddings happen over the next 8 weeks, then that could mean thousands of dollars out of vendors' pockets. Most of these vendors are entrepreneurs, and she says now is as good a time as any to support small local businesses.
There's a lot of businesses that may not make it through this, and how do we come together as vendors and try and help each other out? Because, the vendors in Indianapolis are very close. It's a very tight-knit community. And
the money these vendors can potentially miss out on is what they use to pay their mortgage, feed their family, and to pay for their business insurance. Coming up in the next half hour, what you need to know if you are a couple getting married this spring. For now, I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Kelsey, thank you. An IU student is sharing the story of her chaotic journey home after having to end her study abroad program early amidst the COVID-19 outbreak. Sydney Dixon is a junior in the Kelly School of Business. She was in Barcelona, Spain when the outbreak began. Sydney says initially students in her program were told to just take safety precautions, but when things got worse, they decided to end the program. That's when the scramble to get back home began.
It was really scary because I didn't know what to do. All of a sudden, a lot of the flights were getting canceled, and thankfully my mother was like there for me and called me and was FaceTiming me and was buying flights, and I was thankfully able to get on a flight that very day. Just to be safe back home, it was just made my heart swell. I started to tear up again, of course. I was texting my mom. I was like, I made it. Please come get me. Please come get me.
Sydney is now back home in Texas, where she will be quarantined for 14 days. She and other IU students will be finishing out this semester online. The university says procedures for move-out and transition policies will be made available sometime later today. We know there is a lot of information out there, and things are changing by the minute. That's why we're working for you, keeping you up to date with everything you need to know about the coronavirus, health and safety recommendations, closures, and where you can find help. You can find all that information in one place on our website. Just head to theindychannel.com/coronavirus. And Todd, we were saying that it's a little bit easier to handle staying at home because you are able to get out for a walk with this weather. It's good this isn't happening, you know, in the middle of December or January.
Yeah, you know, we're not talking about temperatures in the teens, single-digit wind chills here. We are talking about the potential for some rain in the coming days, so you'll have to kind of time out those outdoor plans. But overall, we'll be in decent shape here, at least weather-wise, throughout the day today. This morning, mostly cloudy skies this morning, kind of a damp feel. We are in the 30s, in 40s this morning. Skies are clear right now. Off to our west, there's not a whole lot in the way of precipitation. We'll thin these clouds out, and by this afternoon, anywhere from 50 to 54 degrees. We'll talk more about the rain heading our way tomorrow, coming up in just a few minutes.
Connors, new tonight on ABC.
Turning now to your election 2020 coverage. After initially saying today's primary would go on as scheduled, Ohio Governor Mike DeWine ordered polls across the state to be closed today. DeWine pointed to what he calls a health emergency and an unprecedented public health crisis.
It's therefore my recommendation, after talking with the Secretary of State, talking with the Attorney General, talking with the Lieutenant Governor, that voting be extended until June 2nd, that no in-person voting occur today, but rather that in-person voting occur on June 2nd.
Kentucky, Louisiana, Georgia have all postponed their primaries as well. Primaries in Illinois, Arizona, and Florida are still scheduled to take place today. Meanwhile, new results show former Vice President Joe Biden will win the Democratic primary vote in Washington, where 89 delegates are at stake. Primaries for both parties were also held in Idaho, Michigan, Mississippi, and Missouri on March 10th. Biden is projected to win every one of those primaries. Caucuses also happened in North Dakota. That state went to Senator Bernie Sanders. Right now, Biden leads Sanders 860 to 706 in the pledged delegate race.
This year's census will rely heavily on mail, phone, and online responses, but thousands of workers are still needed to knock on doors and conduct interviews. The Census Bureau says it's having a hard time finding workers due to the coronavirus outbreak. At this time, the 2010 census, 145,000 temporary workers were on the grounds. But right now, the Bureau has just under 24,000 workers. Officials say it's particularly challenging to reach minorities, college students, senior citizens, and the homeless. These populations are least likely to respond to the census and also at highest risk of contracting the COVID-19. The Census Bureau has until December to send its final counts to the President and Congress.
For the first time in 75 years, the Kentucky Derby may not be run on the first Saturday in May. Reports say the race, dubbed the most exciting 2 minutes in sports, will be postponed. The Derby, which can draw more than 150 50,000 fans was originally scheduled for May 2nd. But the CDC has recommended canceling or postponing all events with more than 50 people for the next 8 weeks. According to ESPN, officials are now targeting a September 5th date for the famous horse race. The only other time it was postponed was in 1945 because of World War II. An official announcement on the decision is expected to be made at 9 this morning.
At 5:17, one event that's not being postponed as of yet is the 2020 NFL Draft. The NFL announcing Monday that all events in Las Vegas have been canceled, but the annual player draft, which sees college players picked by professional teams, will be televised as normal. The league says it's exploring its options for how the process will be conducted. In a statement, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell says the decision, quote, reflects our foremost priority, the health and safety of all fans and citizens. The draft is scheduled to take place on April 23rd through the 25th.
It's time to break out your green and celebrate all things Irish. Today is St. Patrick's Day. There are normally hundreds of parades across America to celebrate, but most have been canceled because of social distancing and COVID-19. One tradition, however, in Wisconsin is still going strong. A group of leprechauns was spotted changing their town's name from New London to New Dublin. The change is a tradition that goes back 30 years. And Todd, we're going to get pinched today. Neither of us are wearing green.
Well,
I'm wearing green for the both of you.
you know, I thought about that, but I have a green wall behind me, so I can't wear
right.
green.
Very you
so
are
I went
exempt.
with the other color on the Irish flag,
Perfect.
orange. So
There
I did think about it, but I guess I had to explain that. Most
you know,
people
when you're
wouldn't figure
picking
that
out your outfits at 3 in the morning, you just kind of go with what's next in the closet some days.
I agree. And it's kind of weird because all the St. Patrick's Day festivities are kind of over the weekend, and it's a Tuesday. Can't do anything, so it's easy to forget about. But it is St. Patrick's Day. Clouds will decrease throughout the day today, so we will get some sunshine in here later on this afternoon. It's just going to kind of be a slow, gradual process. Warmer temps are on the way, but quite a bit of rainfall is as well as we work our way throughout the remainder of the week. 37 in Peru right now, 42 in Bloomington. It's 41 as you make your way here into the Greenfield area. So over the next 12 hours, we'll see temperatures hover right around 40 degrees. And then as those clouds start to thin, that's when we'll start to see the temperatures moderate. So with the sun not setting now until almost 8 o'clock, our high temperatures occurring a little bit later in the day. And I do think we probably get up to about 52 to 53 degrees for our afternoon high. And radar is pretty quiet here this morning. Still kind of a damp feel out there with the moisture from last night and the clouds that are in place. But as we look off to our west, you notice the clearing taking place in western Illinois. All this heavier rain to our south. That'll bypass off to our south. We don't have to worry about that. Here's the gradual clearing. I think the models probably take the clouds out a little quicker than what's really going to happen today. But the sky should start to brighten. That is the good news. And then as we look ahead to tomorrow we start off dry, but then we'll bring rain in throughout the day. And once the rain starts tomorrow, it's actually going to be fairly steady. So with the kids home from school, a lot of people working from home, tomorrow if you want to get that walk through the neighborhood in, do it earlier compared to later, because if you do it later, you're going to have the rain gear handy as this rain, and again, it's going to be fairly steady for us throughout the course of the afternoon and evening hours. The first of several waves of rain. Another batch comes through on Thursday. Thursday is really warm, though, a high of 70 degrees. Then the cold front comes through on Friday with a round of thunderstorms, and then we're looking at quiet weather for the weekend. But behind that cold front, much colder. Temperatures may struggle on Saturday to get to 40 degrees, but at least, Lauren, it'll be sunny.
All right, Todd, we have that to look forward to. Right now, if you're heading out on the roads, no major issues to slow you down. Here's a look just north of downtown I-65, a view at 30th Street. You see traffic is pretty quiet out that way this morning. Of course, we'll keep you updated on any issues we're tracking as you're heading out the door to start your Tuesday. Of course, we'll keep you updated.
The coronavirus is having a major impact on the airline industry, with many limiting capacity and even canceling flights. Experts say some major airlines could go bankrupt by the end of May. Europe's biggest low-cost carrier, Ryanair, said Monday it will ground most of its fleet over the next 7 to 10 days. That follows the biggest cutback by Delta in its history, and United Airlines also cut its capacity in half. Airlines in the U.S. are reportedly now in talks with the White House and Congress. They're asking for a $50 billion aid package. Similar talks are underway in Europe.
Amazon's speedy shipping practices may be a little bit lagging. The e-commerce giant says it's seen a surge in online shopping as the coronavirus outbreak spreads. 1-day and 2-day delivery options for Prime customers are showing delays of now several days. The company has also reported limited availability on some of the items. Other items, including many household staples, are completely out of stock. To meet the surge in demand, the company is looking to hire an additional 100,000 employees in the U.S. through the end of April. Amazon says it will raise pay for warehouse and delivery workers by $2 per hour. Amazon currently pays $15 per hour or more for warehouse and delivery jobs.
Nearly 1 year after Tesla unveiled its new electric SUV, the automaker surprised consumers by announcing the vehicles were out for delivery. The Model Y is a mid-size electric SUV. Customers were originally told they would have to wait until at least fall of this year to own one. Tesla then surprised them by getting the vehicles out ahead of schedule. The company has 3 versions of the Model Y. It's selling the 2 more expensive versions first. Their price ranges between $52,000 and $61,000. The most affordable Model Y has a base price around $39,000. That is expected to start production early next year.
As restaurants and bars across the country brace for big losses due to the coronavirus, some people are stepping up to help. Coming up, the big surprise for workers at one Texas restaurant before they were forced to close their doors.
And ahead at 5:30, we told you how those in the wedding industry are being affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Next, our Kelsey Anderson will tell you what to do if you're a bride and your big day is on the line. We'll be right back.
Where's that We Buy Any Car?
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Staff at this Texas restaurant were taken by surprise after an anonymous customer left a large tip amid the coronavirus-based shutdowns. Irmo's Southwest restaurant in Houston says that a customer came in Monday and left a $9,400 tip. On the receipt, the person wrote, quote, "Hold tip to pay you guys over for the next few weeks," end quote. The restaurant says the staff will evenly split up the tip. What a generous donation there. All right, as we're heading out the door today, it is St. Patrick's Day. Todd, we may not be feeling super lucky, but we are lucky in terms of maybe some sunshine.
Yeah, you know, we'll get into some sunshine as the day goes on, with high temperatures eventually climbing up into the 50s. You see right now that we are dealing with quiet conditions on Storm Team 6 radar. Temperatures are currently in the 40s, and as we go throughout the course of the day today, your St. Patrick's Day, up to 53 degrees for your afternoon high, with no additional rainfall heading our way, so you will be able to get out and about. We'll talk more about your extended forecast coming up.
Today at 10 on RTV6. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 5:30, Indiana has reported its first death related to the coronavirus. We'll break down the latest guidelines that the governor and the president are putting in place. And some of the new guidelines are closing restaurants and bars across our state. Our Alyssa Donovan spoke with local businesses about how they're reacting to those changes. But first, here at 5:30, we do want to welcome you into Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. A bit of a different look this morning, as you might be getting accustomed to here. We are practicing social distancing because of COVID-19. So we want to hand things over to meteorologist Todd Kloss. And Todd, the good news is, despite what is going on right now here in central Indiana and across our country, we've got some decent weather. We can get outside, go for a walk, get some fresh air.
Yeah, at least definitely today. And then tomorrow you're going to have to kind of pick your times, as some rain is going to be heading in our direction. This morning, though, Storm Team 6 radar is completely quiet. There's still a very damp feel out there. And if you do take to the roads this morning, you'll notice they're going to be wet. That's kind of a combination of some rain showers from much earlier this morning, and also just that moisture that we have in the atmosphere. But you should not get any additional precipitation falling from the sky, despite all the clouds that are still in place across the area. Some heavier rain to our south, that's going to stay there. That will not impact us. Instead, we will actually see our clouds start to decrease as the day goes on. Temperatures not bad this morning, 30s and 40s as we work our way throughout the course of this St. Patrick's Day. We'll see decreasing clouds as the day goes on. Once we get the sunshine in here later on this afternoon, temperatures will make the jump up into the low 50s. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. We are keeping a close eye on traffic as you start your Tuesday. Here's a live look on the west side. No problems at I-465 near the Sam Jones Expressway. You can see traffic is moving along up to speed. Of course, we'll keep an eye on it for you this morning.
We are, make no mistake about it, at war with COVID-19, and we will win this war.
Strong words from Governor Eric Holcomb as he announced Indiana's first death related to the coronavirus. The person who died was a Marion County resident and considered a high-risk patient over the age of 60. The number of COVID-19 cases in the state has also gone up, now totaling 24. The 5 latest cases coming from Bartholomew, Floyd, Marion, Howard, and Hendricks counties. The governor now issuing stricter guidelines to prevent the spread. The orders say hospitals and ambulatory surgical centers should cancel and/or postpone elective and non-urgent surgical procedures immediately. No in-person events of more than 50 people are recommended. Bars, nightclubs, and restaurants are required to close to in-person customers through the end of the month. Takeout and delivery services may be offered. Holcomb emphasized that Hoosiers should stay informed and continue to follow precautionary measures.
Everything we're doing today, social distancing, self or directed isolation, as extreme as those measures may seem, are effective. We know that from experience around the world.
Mayor Joe Hogsett has also issued an executive order to restrict travel during this time. That order declares a local disaster emergency and issues a watch-level travel advisory here across Marion County. It urges people to stay home unless they're going to the grocery store, picking up a prescription, or heading to or from work. The mayor's office says it's a recommendation, just like during a snowstorm. Like Governor Holcomb, Hogsett also ordered businesses like bars, gyms, and fitness facilities to close starting this morning at 8 a.m. Indiana restaurants and bars are closed to in-person patrons through the end of the month. Governor Holcomb announcing the directive yesterday on the heels of neighboring states Illinois, Ohio, and Kentucky all taking similar actions. Before the announcement, several establishment owners already decided to shut their doors or switch to takeout-only service. Our Alyssa Donovan has those details.
That's right, Lauren. And dining in is no longer an option in Indiana as state officials work to curb the spread of COVID-19. So restaurants like this are going to stay pretty empty over the next few weeks. But there are some other ways to support your local eateries. Restaurant after restaurant after restaurant posting on social media Monday that they were closing or switching to carry-out services only. Some establishment owners throwing in the towel before Governor Holcomb made it official. Indiana following suit with neighboring Illinois, Ohio, and Kentucky, all of which have halted dine-in services for restaurants and bars due to COVID-19. Indiana will still allow pickup and delivery options. Some places like Northside Kitchenette posting a thank you for continued support as they transition to curbside carryout. The Vanguard and Broad Ripple offering family-style oven-ready options, accepting pre-orders via direct message 2 days in advance. Bluebeard Indy and Bovacanti Coffee closing completely. In their post, they want to ensure safety of their staff and the community. Many social media posts encouraging people to purchase gift cards to use at a later date so that these small businesses can continue to receive some financial support during the closures. Several restaurants also sharing this, a letter to both Governor Holcomb and Mayor Joe Hogsett, requesting support for employees and restaurant owners, including emergency unemployment benefits for workers, an eviction moratorium protecting both the establishments and staff, elimination of payroll tax for employees, and rent and loan abatement measures for those impacted by the closure of the restaurant industry. The letter states that taking these measures would allow these restaurants and bars to reopen their doors when the pandemic is over. And the CEO of Grubhub delivery service also announced yesterday that during this time, they will be deferring their commissions to these impacted restaurants just to help out. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. While businesses are worried about making a living under these new restrictions, some workers are worried about making ends meet if they get sick. Roughly a third of Hoosier workers do not get any paid sick leave. That creates a hardship for workers like Desiree Edwards. She works in the fast food industry to help her family make ends meet. But if she gets sick or her children get sick, she has to take time off unpaid.
Do you worry about a sickness facing your family?
Yes, I do, because I come in contact with people through the drive-thru, and you never know who comes through that drive-thru that may have the sickness as well. And not everybody's going to fess up to whether they have it or not. Who wants people to know that they have a virus that is going to affect other people?
The governor's office said Governor Holcomb is looking at all options to address the impact on Hoosier workers. Congress is also working on legislation related to paid sick leave.
Well, for many women, their wedding day is something they've been dreaming of since they were little kids. Now, with the new recommendations for the Centers for Disease Control, spring brides might be facing a really harsh reality that their dream wedding could be put on hold.
You've got the decorations, you've got the white dress, and you have all the wedding favors. But with the CDC recommending no more than 50 people together at a gathering for the next 8 weeks, is your wedding on the line? I spoke to an expert about what you should be doing.
We're hoping that it's only for about 8 weeks, but we have no way of knowing that.
It's uncharted territory for Tammy Pizzocchi, who has assisted hundreds of Indianapolis brides in the planning process. But this is not the typical wedding day disaster.
There's a lot of panic.
She's the vice president of Perfect Wedding Guide. She's usually working to connect brides with local vendors, but right now, her job is coming up with a plan of action for each spring wedding, currently in limbo due to coronavirus. The CDC recommending to keep gatherings smaller and smaller.
You know, we went from 250 to 50 in a matter of 48 hours. So that's, you know, the vendors in the city are very much saying to the couples, I know it's disappointing, but we really just need to wrap our heads around the fact that this live in-person wedding isn't going to happen this spring.
Difficult for couples to hear, but she says there are other options.
You can still get married on that day. You know, you can still do an elopement and then plan this great, big, huge wedding. So you don't have to feel like you're putting your life on hold. You're putting a party on hold.
She says to remember, no matter what happens, you are still getting married to the love of your life. And this is just a unique chapter in your story.
You're going to have a really great story to tell. You know, your 10-year anniversary is going to be a whole lot of fun because you're going to have great stories.
Pizzocchi says if you are someone who's getting married this spring, you need to reach out to all of your vendors and ask them what their cancellation and postponement policies are. That way you can get a better understanding of how to handle this situation. For now, I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Great perspective there, Kelsey. Thank you so much. Now, while schools across central Indiana are closed these next few weeks, food nutrition service employees with Hamilton Southeastern schools put on their gloves and they got to work, making sure that their students were fed while the classrooms are closed. HSE staff members packaged thousands of meals for students in need and held a drive at 3 school parking lots. Parents and students could drive up, pick up breakfast and lunch items for the next 3 weeks. A district spokesperson says that they've served more than 2,000 students at 2 of those locations yesterday. For families who could not attend the meal drive, caregivers can reach out through email to make arrangements.
More universities are making changes on campus because of COVID-19. Ball State University has announced it is closing its student housing. That will be in effect starting Sunday, March 29th at 5 p.m., but students are free to leave as soon as possible. Purdue University announced they are extending remote learning through the end of the spring semester. The West Lafayette campus says their housing will remain open for those who need it. Indiana State University says it's also continuing online classes through the end of the semester. Residence halls are scheduled to close at noon on Saturday, and spring commencement ceremonies are being canceled. We have compiled everything you need to know about COVID-19 in one spot. You can find information about university closures, meal assistance, and the latest on the disease on our website, theindychannel.com/coronavirus. Here at 541, let's take a check of the weather with Todd.
And as you get going, whether you are staying at home or just walking out the door for maybe a walk around the neighborhood, or if you do have to commute into work, it's a decent morning. There's a little bit of drizzle in spots and some clouds and kind of a damp feel at 42 degrees. But by this afternoon, we're looking at better conditions. Skies will be partly cloudy and we'll work some sunshine into the forecast. It's St. Patrick's Day. It is going to be a dry day for you to get out and about. That changes tomorrow. Tomorrow's actually going to be a little bit warmer, but rain chances will really ramp up as the day goes on. Tomorrow, we should see the rain start to move in by the noon hour, and then much of the afternoon and evening hours on Wednesday, we will be dealing with a steady rainfall. So take advantage of the dry weather today. Thursday is another pretty wet day for us, and then a cold front comes through on Friday, and that will be more of a band of rain that comes through, followed by cooler temperatures for the weekend. We'll talk all about not only the rain, but your weekend forecast coming up in Maine weather in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. Researchers are making progress to develop a vaccine for the coronavirus. Coming up, the medical breakthroughs being made to fight the outbreak.
And while many kids are out of school, one zoo is taking time to introduce them to new animals online. Still ahead, a look at the fun Facebook Live activity featuring Fiona the hippo. The time right now is 5:42. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Pain immediately following injection.
I'm also pleased to report today that a vaccine candidate has begun the phase 1 clinical trial. This is one of the fastest vaccine development launches in history, not even close.
President Trump announcing an important step in finding an effective vaccine for COVID-19. A participant in a coronavirus vaccine trial was given their first dose Monday. The study, done out of Seattle, aims to enroll a total of 45 healthy adults over a 6-week time frame. It's meant to prove that the vaccine is safe and gets the correct response from participants' immune systems. While progress is being made, experts say there will be follow-up studies done, which may take many more months. The number of COVID-19 cases in the U.S. is now at more than 4,600. President Trump has issued new nationwide guidelines for the outbreak, saying we should be prepared for this to last through July or August. ABC's Alex Prescia has more from Washington.
The novel coronavirus pandemic now affecting the U.S. in ways Americans have never seen. The new normal in California's San Francisco Bay Area, 7 counties now under a shelter-in-place order. Close to 7 million people told to only leave home for food, medicine, or exercise.
We need to anticipate spread, but we also need to prioritize our focus. Most important thing, again, is to protect the most vulnerable.
Los Angeles raising the city's operation to level 1, the highest, deputizing city workers to do jobs they don't normally do. At least 35 states ordering public schools to close, and at least 15 states have activated the National Guard. Also, new guidelines from President Trump's coronavirus task force, now urging people to avoid gatherings of 10 or more people, discretionary travel, and encouraging older people and those with underlying conditions to stay at home. The administration also telling people not to visit nursing homes and recommending bars and restaurants close in states with community spread. The president saying Americans should prepare for this to last well into the summer.
People are talking about July, August, something like that.
And America's healthcare workers already being pushed to the brink. Hospitals are reporting a spike in incoming patients amid a shortage of protective equipment like N95 respirators. The president telling states they should try to get that equipment on their own.
It obviously makes a situation where we are in, desperate need of these, and we actually have to lock them up.
I don't think any country or any preparation in the world will be able to be adequate to have the equipment that you need.
The Senate is expected to take up a virus emergency bill today after the measure passed in the House. Alex Prescia, ABC News, Washington.
Well, the U.S. Supreme Court is also postponing its agenda due to the ongoing pandemic. The session was supposed to start next week. While oral arguments will not be heard right now, the justices could still release opinions in some cases. The Supreme Court could adjust its schedule to make up for the delay, but so far no announcements have been made. The time right now is 5:48. It is Tuesday morning. Todd, let's get a check of that forecast.
And as you walk out the door this morning, it's kind of damp out there. We had some rainfall yesterday evening, nothing very heavy, but it's enough to keep the ground a little bit wet, and we have some low-hanging clouds, and there's some minor visibility issues out there. Not so much in the metro area. It's really confined to the southeastern portion of central Indiana, but I point this out because of Interstate 74. That's probably the interstate or the roadway that's going to be impacted the most by that patchy fog. Here's the view in downtown, and you can see the moisture on the camera lens, but the visibility as you look off into the distance, not an issue in downtown Indianapolis. 41 degrees, that is the current temperature. A little breezy out there this morning with winds out of the northwest at 14 miles per hour. But what's going to happen in the next few days is we're going to start to turn those winds more southerly, and that is going to help to take our temperatures up eventually this afternoon into the 50s. Tomorrow we're probably into the 60s, and Thursday potentially some of you could touch the 70-degree mark. 37 right now in Peru, 42 in Bloomington, 36 in Crawfordsville as we work our way throughout this St. Patrick's Day. The trend will be for the clouds to decrease by the time we get to the afternoon hours. We'll be working our way into some sunshine. Once we get into that sunshine, temperatures will be jumping up into the low 50s. As far as the wind goes, that will diminish as the day goes on. So it's a little breezy now, but it does turn into a calm afternoon with the sunshine. So this afternoon, get out, take a walk around the neighborhood, a jog through parts of central Indiana, and just get yourself out of the house and enjoy the sunshine, because things will be changing as we work our way into the day tomorrow. Here are the clouds that are in place, but all the rain is down to our south. But there's another storm system quickly on this one's heels that's going to bring rain back into the forecast starting tomorrow. In fact, it turns into a pretty steady rain throughout the afternoon and evening hours tomorrow. So I want to jump to tomorrow on TrueCast for you. The morning starts off dry. If you are commuting to work, you should not have any issues whatsoever. But the rain will develop throughout the afternoon hours. Once it starts, it's going to be pretty steady throughout the day. It turns into a wet afternoon, a wet evening, and then the rain will taper off briefly tomorrow night into Thursday morning. But this is going to be a pretty good soaking for us throughout the course of the day tomorrow. We're looking at anywhere from a half an inch to about 3/4 of an inch of rain. But then we're going to top more rain onto that on Thursday and more on Friday as the cold front comes through. And I do think by the time we get to the end of the day on Friday, we're talking about maybe 2 inches of rain across the area and maybe some localized flooding, something we'll have to keep an eye on. But you do notice it is mild tomorrow all the way through Friday. Once that cold front goes through, it's a different ball game. For the weekend, we get the sunshine back, Lauren, but much colder air will be in place.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. We are keeping a close eye on traffic this morning as you're heading out there, maybe to work this morning. This is over on the east side, our NDOT traffic camera at I-70 and Shadeland Avenue. Traffic is picking up a little bit, as you can see. It is still traveling up to speed. Time now, 5:52. Universal Pictures says it has a new plan for its movies since the coronavirus outbreak is keeping people from theaters. The studio announcing it will make 3 of its newest films available for streaming this week. The Invisible Man, The Hunt, and Emma are currently playing in movie theaters nationwide. Universal says starting Friday, movies can also be rented from on-demand services by Apple, Amazon, and Comcast. They'll cost about $20 each and can be rented for 48 hours. DreamWorks Animation is also making its movie Trolls World Tour available on demand April 10th. The same day it's expected to hit theaters.
The Cincinnati Zoo is closed as a precaution, but they are still showing off their animals, including Fiona the hippo, for kids on Facebook Live. Fiona became a worldwide celebrity when she was born at a record low weight and survived the odds. Now the zoo is holding live streams to help make many kids break from school fun and educational. It's called Home Safari Facebook Live. The zoo says during the stream they will highlight an animal and include an activity. They'll do one every day at 3 p.m.
With many zoos closing because of COVID-19, one animal got a chance to explore a little bit. This little penguin's adventure is coming up just after the break. Stick around. Well, many zoos and aquariums are closed because of the coronavirus. One penguin here got a little time to check out the other animals. The Shed Aquarium in Chicago tweeted out this video. A penguin named Wellington looking at the fish exhibits. He's one of several rockhopper penguins who got to waddle around under the guidance of keepers. The aquarium staff says that they're getting creative with animal enrichment during this closure. He's like, is this like a restaurant, Todd? I'll take that and I'll take that one. That's
Is there
funny.
A lobster in there?
Yeah,
right,
look at him. He's like, wow, I've never been to this part of the zoo before. This is heaven.
He probably thinks it's a nice restaurant, seeing as he wore his tuxedo.
Oh, yes, very fancy.
Meredith with the jokes here on St. Patrick's Day. All right, outside this morning, we are dealing with some moisture out there. Not so much falling from the sky. It's just kind of a damp feeling. You can see it on our camera here as you look off to the west. This morning, lots of clouds, but by this afternoon, some sunshine is back into the forecast. More on that. And a look at the rest of the week coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 5:57.